1 in 10 adults suffer from addiction, and 3 to 4 family members are struggling with the effects of this at their home and at work and in every part of their lives.
Also, less than 10% of the people actually go out and get help for their addiction in any given year. So Christy Ulrich from Face It Together got a great grand opening coming up, is here to tell us how they're going to change what's happening in this situation. So I guess let's start with maybe 1, why do so few people get help? And 2, how are you guys going to go about changing that?
A lot of shame and stigma goes around with addiction. And so people put their head down and they don't want to talk about it. A lot of times they're fearful they'll lose their job because 70% of those that suffer from addiction are working. Very different than the stigma that people think if you suffer from addiction, maybe you aren't working, but they are working, but they're fearful. If I lose my job, if I talk to somebody about it, there's other ramifications. So we want to get it out in the open and really normalize the disease that says there's an opportunity here to get help, and they can come in to Face It Together and get help. Weekly coaching sessions is what happens.
How do you go about changing that? Because I've heard people even say, like, I've wanted to go get help. Like when you live in smaller communities like we do, and someone sees you walking into the rehab center, that spreads like wildfire. So how do you begin to change that stigma?
By talking about it and talking about that it's the chronic disease. It's not a poor choice that somebody's making. It's not a bad person who's making those choices. It's a good person who needs to get better and to get help.
And as we've said before, I mean, there's lots of places people could turn to here in the community, but you guys are going to be that brand new place and offering some different ways to help people.
Correct. There's a lot of different pathways to recovery, and we're just offering one of them. And we also can refer people to other pathways if they need that. But really what Face It Together does, it's like a lifetime coach. So when you come into our facility on a weekly basis, you meet with your coach, you create that connection that you have, and it's all about connectivity in our community. And so when you connect with that coach and you meet on a weekly basis, they're going to ask you, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve here? And all of a sudden you start talking about and normalizing the disease. And then we do what's called the Recovery Capital Index, where we do an assessment when you first come in, and then after 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, and we give you an RCI number based on your assessment, and all of a sudden your RCI goes from a 41 to a 50, and inside you're getting better. And so there's evidence there that says, yes, I am getting better. All of a sudden you start feeling better on the inside as well as the outside.
Off the air, you mentioned it's peer-to-peer. Talk more about what that means specifically.
So we don't have licensed addiction counselors. We have peers that have been through the same path. So we have a very diverse group of coaches, and they themselves have suffered addiction and are in recovery. So perhaps my lead recovery coach is a 24-year-old young man who's been in recovery a couple of years. And so when someone calls in and says, I'm struggling, I need help, the person who's answering that phone says, I've been down that same road that you've been, and together we can get through this.
And you said also that you guys go into the workplace so others can help identify it. As you said, a lot of times they try to hide it, or there's small signs, but people aren't educated on what those signs are.
So we go into the workplace for our workplace initiative, and we teach wellness, and what does addiction look like, what does wellness look like, and then how do we remove the shame and stigma, and we help loved ones. So maybe I myself am not in the addiction phase, but maybe it's my spouse or a child, and so I'm going to work every day, but I'm not really present because I'm concerned about that loved one. So we have coaches that will help with the loved ones as well.
And you've got
September 20th.
I was going to say, so you got a grand opening coming up. How can people get in contact with you and get some help?
Check out our website. It's faceitfargomoorhead.org. There's an opportunity where you can sign up for volunteers, or give us a call. We can help you out, and you can either volunteer as someone who's answering a phone, part of our speakers bureau, or part of our recovery coaches.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
We need it, so
it's
appreciate
really
it.
good.
All right, stay with us when we come back. Much more coming up right here on North Dakota Today.